Welcome back to Kin in Line. I make this part 135. I'm going to be jumping around over a period of about 10 years around 2010, so before and after 2010, because I can't really place some of these images time-wise. So this is King's Beach, I think, with a piece of driftwood in the foreground, and my beloved fisherman standing there with a couple of people beside him. So very sort of quick fire sketch, just creating a composition and then watercolored later, and I think it works quite effectively. These are in no specific order, so I've just hauled them out of an envelope which contains stuff from various places and times. So here in the foreground, you'll see little up-jutting pieces of concrete, actually, and those are the remains of a slipway at Humewood Beach, which was erected in the early 20th century, I think, or even maybe earlier, late 19th. And behind is a high-rise building, which is almost on the flight path as you come into land over Algoa Bay and into the Port Elizabeth Airport. Again, I quite enjoy my subtle use of colour here. Sometimes, I started colouring this thing with watercolours and realised that the ink I'd used for the sketch of King's Beach with harbour cranes, container cranes behind, the water was going to have a very negative effect. That ink just ran everywhere, which was quite sad. So one has to be wary of that. It's probably for that reason that I didn't try to watercolour any of these other ones done on this paper with this specific pen. So here we have the ship in the bay with the distant mountains around Utenay, I think. Would have been nice to watercolour this, but it's not worth running the risk. I mentioned the remnants of that slipway at Humewood Beach. So there you can see a ship on the horizon, and then these 6 columns. You can just see the suggestion in the middle here of the actual slipway, the piece of the metal sort of structure upon which boats were pulled ashore. And we've got photographs in this book that I produced called 200 Years, a Celebration of Port Elizabeth. There are photographs of this in action, this slipway, with boats up being repaired and worked on. So this is really quite a historic monument, really, to development and progress in PE. I mean, this was on the outskirts of town at the time that it was erected. There was no summer strand. It was all just wild, sandy terrain out that way. Had to be reclaimed. And the inevitable sail on the bay. Not really enough information here for this to be a truly successful work. Now we take a vast switch, something I haven't featured at all thus far, I think, apart from that trip up through the Malutes to Maritzburg in the mid-80s. Often with my family have gone up to a farm in the Karoo near Stainsburg. And I think these, oh wait, this is on a more recent trip. This is about 2016 or so, where we went back to Clarence in the southern Free State. And so I got a chance to draw those same types of mountains with a bit more time on my hand. And then we even took a drive around the Lesotho to the western flank of the main sort of Drakensberg, which is where I did this sketch of a rather dramatic section of the berg. I think the amphitheater is sort of defined by these two peaks, the one in the foreground and that little needle in the background. Again, we're in the Drakensberg somewhere. I think we did Sani Pass, so this might have been near Sani, which was one hair-raising drive up we actually went with a guided, it was some chap who had a big 4x4 which he took tourists up there, and we were happy not to risk our little cheap sedan on a road that was barely there at all, just a gravel track. So this is, yeah, I think this was done at Sani. And those wonderful mountains. I mean, the Drakensberg truly are spectacular. And I don't mind the fact that I've used a bit of license on the colours front here. You know, that's, for me, that's just how I paint. Likewise here. It looks like we're back on the beach. Let's get this girl in her bikini. Here again, I didn't watercolor all of them, but I think the ones I did also work quite well. Particularly this guy. Shame. The pen can be pretty ruthless. They say it's mightier than the sword. And in the hands of somebody sketching, it can also not flatter very much, but then this is life. I don't think I over-exaggerated. Look at the head. It's just a sort of, the face is an absolute, it's a kind of a miracle, because, you know, you just look at the figure and let the pen follow what you see. And that's what comes out. So very quick ones here again. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So this could have been somebody